Hey guys, it's Clancy, and today I have a super exciting video for you guys because I'm going to be talking all about my Lasik eye surgery. And I feel really weird right now because I feel like everyone's probably like staring into my eyes. Actually, in real life, even anyone asks me about it, I get really self-conscious. I'm like, they're looking into my eyes, they're staring into my soul. Help. And I'm also super excited about this video because I watched basically every single Lasik experience video on YouTube that there possibly was before deciding to get my surgery. So I feel like I'm about to be like a part of like the Lasik surgery videos. Like people who are deciding whether or not to get Lasik could be watching this one. That's like so like, hi, like I'm gonna tell you everything. I'm gonna tell you things that I feel like people didn't even tell you. Like personally, when I was going through it, I was like, no one mentioned this about a couple of things. I'm not leaving anything out. I'm not sugarcoating anything. I'm just telling you how it is, and take it or leave it. I don't know what I'm saying. Let's just get into it. I feel like I've had bad vision for as long as I can remember. In reality, it was 3rd grade when the school nurse was like, yo, Clancy, you need spectacles, and I was secretly, guys, I remember I was so excited. And so, you know, they got me spectacles, and ever since then, ever since 3rd grade, my vision just got worse and worse and worse and worse until, guys, I became, I mean, without absolutely so blind. Like, obviously not blind, but my vision was a -7, which I think is like a 2600. Basically what that means is that what a normal person sees 600 feet away, I need to be 20 feet away to see it. The big E on the chart, I stopped being able to see that so many years ago. So LASIK was kind of in the back of my head. I hated glasses. I can't even describe it. It's like you put them on and it's not you. It's like blocking your face. Ew, I just like touched my lip. Really weird. Okay. So I finally bit the bullet. Is that even an expression, bit the bullet? I think so. I'll look that up. And decided to go for a LASIK consultation. And I was terrified that I wasn't going to be a candidate. Oh my gosh, because I wanted this so badly, and to not be a candidate, I honestly would have been heartbroken. So basically, when you go for your first consultation, you get a whole bunch of eye tests. Your vision must be stable for at least 1 year because you don't want it to change after the surgery, and they go through your medical history. When he told me I was a candidate, I was so happy, and I said, when's the soonest I can book this thing? However, there was one big but in my case. Isn't there always? That's what he said. I just stole his line. I'm a stealer. I'm a crook. What can I say? And it is that because my prescription is so, or was so high, most likely I'm not going to be able to fix it in one procedure. I'm going to need what's called a touch-up or an enhancement after the initial one, just because it's so terrible. And I said, honestly, I don't care. That is fine. We're going through with this. Let's do it. And he said, okay. And we like pounded fists and we had a dance. No, none of that happened. He just said, okay, and then scurried off. Okay. Leading up to it, I was nervous, but not nervous because I simply told myself, don't be nervous. Like, I would be like, oh my God, you're about to get your eyes cut open in a couple of days. But then I'd be like, it's fine, whatever. The day of, I woke up, I put on YouTube's It's a Beautiful Day song. I was like, it's a beautiful day. You're not getting your eyes cut open. No, it's just a beautiful day. Funnily enough, I was actually more nervous about the doctor instructed me, and not just instructed me or suggested, he like ordered me to take 2 Xanax before the surgery to calm my nerves. And so I was so scared of like how it would react with me, if I would feel weird, and I was just so scared about that. I ended up taking 1 pill instead of the 2 that he told me to take, and it did nothing. I went into the operation, the surgery completely, I guess you could say sober, or just me. And before I actually went in, he was like, did you take the Xanax? Like, he was so insistent on that. I guess he's had people like freak out during surgery because it's a little bit nerve-wracking. So I got there and immediately the doctor started putting eye drops in my eyes. And it was like kind of scary just because I knew that these eye drops were the numbing drops. It's just weird, like the idea of your eyes being numb. Like, why are they numb? Oh, because, you know, my eye's getting sliced open. I had to like let them sit in for like literally 3 minutes. The doors of the laser room where the surgery happens, the dungeon, if you will, swung open. And oh my God, it was actually like just so, I got into the room and there's just like this like surgical bed thing. Almost like a dentist's office bed pushed all the way back. My doctor's waiting for me and I'm just like, hey, like I don't know, I'm trying to openly be not nervous just because don't psych yourself out. Like just be like, what's up? Alright, so basically the chair swivels. So you swivel from one place, like where the laser is, to where they cut the flap. The flap is, yes, the cornea. Very first thing he did is he put in another set of anesthesia drops, and then he took a plastic something, I know it's not plastic, but like a firm thing, and he said he was numbing my eyelids. So he swiveled it inside and swiveled it at the top. Didn't hurt, but the idea of like a thing going Once that was on, I swiveled over to the first thing, and he put some sort of like suction device on my eye. I don't know what it was. I really don't. But okay. I've heard that this part is where you feel a lot of pressure. I'm not gonna lie, it kind of was pretty painful. It felt like someone was punching me in my eye socket. There was so much pressure. I remember specifically like kind of going like this with my hands at my, you know, like at my leg, like my hands were just like, you know. And I was like, holy crap, holy crap, holy crap, holy crap. It just felt like so much pressure. Not pain where I'm like, ah! Or not pain where I want to do it again. Do it to me all you want. It's not pain that's bad. It's just like, oh my God, like get this thing off my eye. That type of pain. I didn't even know what was happening. After that was done, I literally thought the procedure was like done. And then he was like, all right, now we're gonna like get started. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Then he took whatever that device was off my eye and put on a different one that prized my eye open to keep it, you know, open during the surgery, which is great so you don't have to worry about blinking. Throughout this whole thing, because of the numbing drops, you feel no sensation to blink. So that was one thing I was worried about. Then I swivel over to the next side, and that is when he cuts the flap open. Now, he actually says, I'm now cutting the flap, and I'm like, why would you tell me that? It was like disgusting to hear. And people ask me, do you see the flap being cut? The answer is kind of. Not really, but there was this one point when the flap came up and he had like this thing, and I saw it and I was like, ew, that's disgusting. Like, put my flap back down. Like, ugh. He did warn me that when you cut the flap, people tend to go black, go blind, go dark. And I've seen that in a whole bunch of other LASIK videos, so I wasn't scared. And he actually did talk me through it. He was like, all right, our thing is getting kind of dark now. And I was like, yeah. And so it wasn't a big deal because I saw people's videos and I was like, I don't know if I can deal with like losing all of my eyesight for even like 5 seconds, because that's just so scary. But it wasn't that dramatic. The room was already dark to begin with. Things were all fuzzy to begin with, considering like my flap was like opening. So it wasn't like, oh my God, I'm blind. No, it wasn't like that at all. Also, whichever eye wasn't being worked on was padded, like closed. Like I couldn't see anything out of it. He opened the flap and then it came time for the laser. And this part, I have to stare, or you have to stare, anyone who does this has to stare into a red light. However, the red light is like moving kind of, so it kind of got tricky and it was kind of hard to focus on that light. Like it took like, not talent, not skill, but it wasn't like I was just sitting there doing nothing. I was like, holy crap, stare into the light. Then I got to this one point where I kind of freaked out because I realized that like I totally was like not staring into the light. I realized the light drifted like there. And I was like, game time decision. Do I flick my eyes dramatically to get to the light, or do I just keep trying to stare into this darkness? Like I was just like, holy crap, I don't know what to do. It was a really iffy moment in my life. I was just like, crap. Oh, and he told me no talking during the thing, so I was like, Now, based on how bad your vision is, they count down a certain amount of seconds of how long you need the laser. There are some people who only need the laser for, I think it's like 6 or 7 seconds. I honestly I think it was like almost a minute. It was a long countdown just because of how terrible my vision is. And what LASIK is doing is it's reshaping I think it's your cornea. And at one point actually, which was really scary, he started trying to like move my head, and I guess like I started trying to like move with him because I was like, what are you doing in my head? In my head I wasn't saying this. And he's like, no, don't move. Like I'm just gonna move your head. Don't do anything while I move your head. And it was really dramatic, and I was like, oh my God, okay. I wanted to be like, okay, sorry, but obviously I didn't want to talk. It was a crazy moment. Anyways, once that was done, I saw the flap. That's when I really saw like the flap come down with his like little like whatever he had with it. And I was like, ugh. Then he takes like a brush with something and he starts painting your eye, like painting the flap back on, which was like the weirdest thing, because like you see, because I guess this was when like my vision was kind of like fixed a little bit, although I'll get to that in a second. Not really fixed completely at that moment in time. You see him like painting and you don't feel anything. I can't tell you, that was like out of everything. Out of having my eye sliced open, having a laser beam like beam into it, that was the creepiest part, that like he's painting it and I'm not feeling anything. And he let it sit for 2 minutes, and then after he put in drops, like a whole crapload of drops, like I think it's antibiotics and maybe more numbing drops, I'm not sure. And I don't feel anything. Normally if someone puts a drop in your eye, you go like, and you blink. It was so weird, like literally seeing drops just fall into my eye as nothing. There was no like response. So weird. Once that was done, He was like, good job, covered that eye, and we were gonna move on to the next eye. I remember literally like laying there, just trying to think of things to keep my mind off it. Things that came to mind, I was like, what's Kanye West doing right now? I wonder if my friend Carly's in traffic. Like, I literally was like, think of anything but this dumb thing. But before I knew it, we were done. We crossed the finish line, and in case you're wondering why I didn't go into detail with like pain or discomfort or anything like that, I truly didn't feel anything other than the first thing I mentioned, where it was a little bit of pain and a lot of pressure. That was the problem. Nothing. I didn't feel anything else at all. He told me to slowly get up when I felt ready. He didn't want me to get lightheaded or anything. I'm not gonna lie, when I did get up, for some weird reason, I did feel very, very lightheaded, and I was like, holy crap. But I didn't want to say anything because I'm that type of person. He's like, are you good to walk? And I was like, yeah. In my head, I was like, holy crap, I think I'm about to like faint or something. But whatever, I got up and I was fine. We opened the doors. My mom was waiting. He had to like lead me to the room though, because it was very, very blurry. Still, I can't explain it. Like, there was like sharp moments, but it was just so blurry. It felt like someone like a curtain almost over my eyes. Like a clear curtain though. And we went to the room and he just told me, like, close your eyes, just close your eyes. And I was like, all right, fine by me. So I closed my eyes. He instructed me what to do. He kind of taped me up with goggles or like shields. And then he instructed me to get home and go to sleep. He said I needed to sleep for the next 4 hours because I was going to experience discomfort. And these 4 hours were going to be the worst hours. And I was like, we need to get home, Mom. And I remember just being in a rush to get home before the anesthetic drops wore off. Because, yeah, this was all painless, but that's because I was on drops that literally numb my eyes. When I think about it, my entire eye was just sliced open. It's gonna be a little bit painful. So I remember being like, Mom, like, we need to rush home. The entire car, I just kept my eyes shut, and we zoomed home. And by that time, it was like 5 p.m. and I went up to bed. Now, I was so apprehensive about this part because I have terrible sleeping problems. For instance, this morning I've been awake since 4:45, went to sleep at after 12 a.m. last night. I was actually watching Chasing Cameron on Netflix. Anyone see that? Anyways, pretty good show. And I took an Aleve PM and tried to go to sleep. But because I'm Clancy Burke, obviously I couldn't fall asleep. And the anesthetic drops, the numbness, of course, started to wear off. And I was just like, holy crap. It was not a pleasant feeling, guys. I'm gonna be straight up honest with you. My eyes were watering like waterfalls, and it just felt like a whole bunch of like little like nails or like screws were just in my eyes, or eyelashes. I've heard people describe it as a whole bunch of eyelashes, just like a million eyelashes just in your eyes, and you can't rub, you can't scratch, and I was just like, this is it. This is what I was warned about. I knew it was gonna be bad. And I was just like, Mom, can I have another Aleve PM? Got another Aleve PM. I don't know. I just blessed myself with 2 hands. Maybe that should be a thing. I don't know. Did I just start something? But all I can say is thank the heavens, I fell asleep. That was me like kissing the heavens. I didn't just really touch my lips. Okay. When I woke up, it was around 7 o'clock. My mom had to wake me up to put in more eye drops, or she didn't put them in. I put them in. I was so groggy. It wasn't the million eyelash pain I had before, but it was very discomfortable. It was very uncomfortable and wasn't a pleasant time to be alive. So I'm in this very vulnerable state, and the big thing about LASIK is you're very sensitive to light after. I can't stress that enough. My mom swings open my door, flicks on my light. I literally screamed. I was like, ah, get it out! And then she quickly turned it back off, and I was like, it hurts so much. Her quote of the night, I quote her, I'm sure it can't hurt that bad. Can't hurt that bad? I'm not gonna say anything. All I'm gonna say is, yes, it did hurt, Mom. It did. Anyway, so she gave me my eye drops, but she just said she didn't know how to put them in, so I had to put them in. And oh my God, like, I was like so scared. Like, my eyes were like glued shut, and like they were so sensitive, and I was too scared to look at myself in the mirror because I thought my eyes were gonna be like the color of a fire truck. And I kind of just like peeled them open a bit and like refused to still look in the mirror. Everything was very like fuzzy still, and I put them in, and it was ugh. And I wanted so badly to go back to sleep, but my mom, thank the Lord, she's a smart woman, told me not to because then I wouldn't be able to sleep that night. So I'm so glad I didn't. I went downstairs and watched like football with my dad. Watched though, I had my shields on, which were kind of blocking. By the way, the doctor taped my shield, one of them, to my eyebrow. It was scary, but luckily we are good. And I was just very uncomfortable that night. A lot of people that night could like see perfectly after their nap. I couldn't. It was still very, very hazy. Sharp moments, like I could see the time on the TV screen, but it was like all hazy around it. Very just not pleasant to be awake and be alive and be a human, let's be honest. A doctor called that night, which was so nice, and I went to bed, and when I woke up the next morning, things were sharp. It was crazy. But when I closed one eye, I noticed that the sharpness was really coming from my left eye, not my right. My right was still pretty blurry. My left, however, could see perfectly. Ironically enough, it was my left eye that was having problems with pain. I was in not a lot of pain, but definitely a considerable amount of pain in my left eye. I felt like there was something in it. Couldn't rub, couldn't do anything, which was annoying. So when I went to my checkup, because you have to go to a one-day checkup, I found out that my left eye, I think, was like 20/25, 20/20 or 20/25, one of those two. My right eye, however, was 20/40, which he did warn me about, that there would probably be some leftover astigmatism or leftover bad eyesight just because of how high my prescription was. Other than that, he told me that everything was normal. And as he's looking at my eye, I'm just praying. I'm like, please tell me I'm okay. Please tell me I'm okay. Please tell me I'm okay. And then I hear like, flap is in place. Flap is in place to both eyes. I'm like, hallelujah, my flaps are in place. Like, oh yeah. So where am I at today? No pain in my left eye whatsoever. That really only lasted the one day. My eyes are definitely very dry though, which is the biggest side effect of LASIK, getting dry eyes. But I just take lubricant eye drops and I put splash them in all day. Like all day I'm constantly, you know, taking some drops, putting them in, you know. And the whole not being able to see as well out of the right eye for the first few days bothered me so much. Right now, it is like, I don't know, I guess my body got used to it. Completely like natural. Mind you, like this last time was checked was 20/40, which is not bad at all. And this was like perfect. And I was telling my mom, I really think my right eye, either I got really used to it or it got better. But right now, guys, like I couldn't be more grateful, more thankful, more happy with how things have turned out so far. Words can't describe how much this has changed my life. Like the fact that I could wake up today and just film is something I couldn't do 2 months ago because I couldn't put in contacts. I was having so many problems. If you watch my videos, you know about this. I'm not going to rehash, but I could just wake up and film today. That was crazy. So now whether or not I will get an enhancement surgery, I honestly don't know. It's like things are just so great right now. I don't want to risk anything. I'm going to talk to my doctor, but I don't know. All I know is that things are just great right now. And if you are a candidate for LASIK and you have the choice of getting it or not, guys, I couldn't recommend it more. And if you have any other questions that I didn't cover or just anything in general, leave it down below because I definitely will answer any questions you have. And I can film a follow-up video being more descriptive and even my own journey of where I am. So if you're not already subscribed, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Not only to see my follow-up LASIK video, but just my other vids, you know? I just love sitting down on camera, talking, chucking up some juices. I don't know what I'm doing. And also don't forget to check out and follow me on social media like Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat to stay up to date on my life, my journey, my everything. So I'm gonna go, but I'll talk to you guys later and thank you so much for watching. Bye. I feel like that was weird because I should have said thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you guys later, but I said it the other way around.